Hey guys, it's Donald, the solo RPG guy here. I'm going to give my overview of the Solo Adventurer's Toolbox, a book designed specifically for Dungeons and Dragons, the 5th edition, solo adventuring. Um, Obviously, Dungeons and Dragons is the most popular of all the role-playing games. It is the game that I'm sure a majority of us cut our teeth on when we were younger. I know I think I was 14 years old when a friend of mine first introduced me to D&D. Um, we played basic, and then we upgraded to advanced D&D. And of course, over the years, the game has developed. We've had second edition, third edition, 3.5, fourth edition, and now the current iteration of fifth edition. And it has, of course, spawned other role playing games. There's the Pathfinder, and there's all the OSR, and then there's all the other fantasy games that try to copy, emulate, beat up, whatever, Dungeon Dragons. But for this particular video, we're going to emphasize ourselves on this book for 5th edition, although it can be easily adapted to any other role-playing game that you might be playing, especially if that game is a fantasy-based game. Quick look at the table of contents here, the chapter book here. We've got the intro, the answer mechanic, which is their definition of an oracle. We've got traveling, camping, and arriving in settlements, wilderness, urban, dungeon encounters, a quest generator, random dungeon generator, random wilderness generator, merchant, shopping, downtime activities, role playing, in the solo format, the NPC generator, story elements, what do the monsters do, monster encounters, loot tables, and example gameplay. Give us a quick intro here on the intention of providing this book is playing without a dungeon master. Obviously, the game itself was designed to be played in a social environment with one person being the game master and everyone else taking on the role of the characters. But in this day and age, life gets in the way, and sometimes you can't find a group. I had a group for the longest time. Unfortunately, I live in a military town. It's very transient. Most of those people have moved on, and I don't have a lot of free time due to my job now, where I can guarantee myself a steady attendance at a game session. So I had to go that solo route now and work on taking what I've done for years with a social environment and now try to create a system for myself to play solo. And here's an intro that literally goes over, just the basics of playing solo. Uh, it talks about random encounter tables, generators, and everything you need to play Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition solo. Here it talks about getting started with free-form play, getting started with quest solo play. Uh, it gives you a little skill check thing, but if you have 5th edition books, you already know how to do the skill checks. But, when it talks about the free-form play, it talks about, you can just simply start with the character story and see where the events take them. And your best approach is probably just to pick a location within your setting, place them there, and start interacting with the local elements. Or you just want to jump straight into the action without any mucking around, go straight to the quest generator, create a quest for your character, and then go from there. As you can see here, it's got the beginnings of a oracle where you frame the question in a yes, no, maybe. You determine the difficulty modifier based on the situation. Obviously, convincing a dragon to give you all his treasure with nothing in exchange obviously is super impossible. While, opening up an unlocked door would probably be a certainty, and then of course you got all the levels in between. That is obviously something you'd have to emulate yourself. And then of course now you've got a simple yes, no, maybe chart. Just roll your d20. You obviously have d20s, and boom, you now have a working oracle, which is one of the things you need, obviously, when you play a solo game. And then, of course, it goes right into all the charts for traveling, and basically that's what this book is. It's literally a book of charts and tables for you to generate your world and all the aspects that are required to play in that world. Modes of travel, there's a weather chart here, and I'm just going to scroll down and we'll just take a quick look at, you know, how to generate the number of wilderness encounters, the possibility of finding an unmarked settlement, the nature of the unmarked settlement, survival checks, um, disturbances while camping, the rules for arriving at a settlement, tavern name generator, tavern table, figure out, who might be in that tavern, generating rumors, the rumor location table, types of settlements, a list of wilderness encounters that if you don't play 5th edition, you can easily port over into your existing game. It looks like it uses a D100 system. And then you got your urban encounters, again, D100 table for you to generate urban encounters. And of course, now you got your dungeon generator. And as you can see, another D100 table. So all the hard work has been done for you. And then you can take those generators and use them in any role-playing game system you got. And now we've got the quest generator. You want to actually start an actual story and not just a kick in the door, kill the monsters, take their stuff. You want to actually start developing a story. You now have a quest generation table. Yet another table. How did your characters hear about the quest? You want to actually add some depth to your story instead of just, oh, we found out this quest. Well, you've got every chart, every table you could possibly need to generate whatever you need. Here's the random dungeon encounters. You need to come up with a table to generate your dungeon encounters. There you go. The dungeon size, the dungeon type, the starting area. Now that we'll just stay with the starting area. If you're looking to start solo RPGing for the first time, the best thing to do is simply start with a dungeon. I mean, back in the early days of D&D, that's what the spirit of the game was anyway. You rolled up your characters, you sat down at the table, and the DM said, okay, you're at the front door of this dungeon. There was no meeting at the tavern, there was no traveling, there was none of that. All that other kind of stuff came on after the fact. Your job was literally go in there, kill the monsters, take their stuff. And now, as time has progressed, we've now got, we want more. Well, now there's so much stuff out there, some people can't even figure out a place to start. This book right here, in and of itself, regardless, will be a great place to start. I'm just, like I said, there's nothing but a book of tables, so I'm just going to scroll on, let you see. We got passage contents, a door table, another D100, stairs. Well, not the stairs, go down one level, two, up, down. Room generating table with how many exits. A room contents table. If you want random architecture or features, you've got a whole list of that. A secret door, a trap table, a clue table, and you see tons of that. And then it goes down to random wilderness generation and how to do random wilderness generation. Number of wilderness encounters you should expect to generate on a daily basis. and then they break it down into all the various terrain types. Now, I'm not going to sit here and scroll through all of them, but you can definitely see you've got a lot of the terrain types covered. Chapter 10 goes into merchants and shopping and all that other good stuff. You know, you've looted the dungeon, you've traveled through the wilderness, you've got your treasure, and, well, what are you going to do with that treasure? Well, here you go. You've got all your equipment and prices, quality, DC for finding items by merchant quality, a tavern name generator, another tavern table, more rumors again. If you want to go into the downtime activities between adventures, you've got information that covers that. And as you see, that's a long list as well. I'm not that familiar with the renown mechanic, or if renown is something that's actually in the book, but if you want to establish your character's renown, they even got a table for that. And now it talks about role-playing in that solo format. The one element that many players said is missing from solo gaming is the element of roleplay. This is just part and parcel of the format. Well, how do you roleplay with a bunch of mechanics? The simple answer is you don't. But in this introduction to one of the many game books, I propose the concept of roleplay in the solo format consists of playing your PC true to form and making decisions based on their ideas. With this supplement, I had the idea of going one step further and creating a system to generate possible routes that interactions with NPCs could take. This chapter is somewhat of an experiment. You may find it useful, you may not. But as a living document, it is expected that this chapter will develop more and further iterations of this document. Follow the procedure below, determine how people react to situations brought about, opinions offered, actions performed by your PC. You may determine this by other means, such as a question-answer roll. This is just to be considered as another tool available for you and your solo play. And then, of course, it goes into all the details surrounding that. You need some NPCs? Well, you've got a very detailed NPC generator in Chapter 13. And I'm just going to scroll through it real quick so you just get a general idea of its contents. Alignment, profession, gender, professions, what class they might be, what level they might be, their economic status, a story element interaction table for random encounters, urban events table, wilderness events table, creatures, a situations table verb list. So if you need to come up with some random verbs, random generating of pretty much anything, well, here you go. As you see, there's tons of that. Coming up with monster tactics. Some people have a problem. Well, how do you play the monsters? Now, me, I don't personally use this. Me, I play the monsters the same way I would if I was sitting at a table with a group. That's just me. The monsters want to kill you as bad as you want to kill them usually, so I play them appropriately. The dumb brute monsters will just run forward and try to eat you for lunch. Intelligent creatures will use their abilities to the best of their ability to take you out. But that's just me, but if you have problems with that, well, you've got all kinds of tactics tables and monster reaction tables, monster encounters for the solo NPC, how to adjust it for the solo PC, multiple monsters in their stories, how to generate the big bad ending guy at the end, a simple conversation table. This might help you as far as interacting with the NPC and doing some actual, a little bit of role play. And then, of course, now they got it broken down to encounter tables by level, adjusted for the solo PC. So you don't have to determine, well, okay, normally with a party of 4 or 5, this is the appropriate number of monsters of this particular CR. Well, now you've got a already done by the expert chart to create monsters appropriate for your level when you're playing with just one PC. They'll even go one extra step and break it down by the environment, whatever the environment is. In this case, here's coastal, desert tables. So if you're running around the desert, running around the dungeon, running around the Underdark, a whole plethora of tables. And then, of course, they've got for you an adjusted treasure hoard table based on the CR of the monster, what type of treasure it might be carrying. That way, you try to keep somewhat of a game balance. You don't restrict your characters by not giving enough, and then at the same time, you avoid the opposite end of having a Monty Hall campaign where your second level character is running around with the Wand of Orcus, a Holy Avenger, and a Ring of Protection verse rules, or an Amulet of DM control. Although I've yet to see an Amulet of DM control or Ring of Protection verse rules, but one day my PC might make one. And then, of course, they give you an example of a gameplay session on how to utilize this book to the best of the ability that you can. I just took a quick skim through this section here, and there was roughly 9 full pages of them actually going through, generating the quest, and then going on from there. So, pretty good resource in that respect. Now, I wouldn't say this is the end-all, be-all book, but if you're playing 5th edition or any other type of fantasy RPG, this book needs to be in your collection if you're going to do any solo RPG. Like I said, this book is specifically designed for 5th edition, but you can easily port this over into whatever fantasy game world you are playing. If you want to get your own PDF copy of the book, it's available at the Dungeon Masters Guild. I'll put the link down below for you to check it out. I hope this little brief overview video helps you in making your determination. If you do decide to purchase the book, please utilize my link below. That money is used to help fund the channel, for me to purchase other products that I can review and bring to you to help you with your solo RPG experience. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in below. Be sure to like, comment, and share if you found this of any use. And until my next video, happy gaming.